If it's too frozen. Okay.
Yeah. Is Barbara on? I don't see Barbara yet. No. Okay.
Let me check.
Marilyn, I don't know if you saw where I had, what the? Marilyn, I don't know if you saw where I sent you that announcement for that next Northeast Reuse Committee meeting thing.
I
In
did.
December.
Yes, I really appreciate that. So
I don't
that's
know if you had signed up for it or not, or, you know, to get on their mailing list or not, but I forwarded it to both you and Dawn. So
thank
just in
you
the,
so much.
in the anticipation that you had not. And I also sent you some photos of some stuff I found out to the curb, you know, over the last, you know, I was basically over a month.
Mhm.
I don't know, again, to a stronger point for, we shouldn't be throwing all this stuff away.
Okay. Nope, I really appreciate it. Very much. Yeah, so I am very interested and I would very much, I don't think the last meeting or the first one, maybe it was the first one. I'm not sure if I was able to attend live when it was happening, but I believe you sent me the link and I did sit down and I listened and watched the whole thing through to the end. And so I really appreciate that. And and hopefully this upcoming one, I'll be, you know, attending while it's actually taking place. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I didn't attend live myself. I had to watch it when they sent out the recording, but it was well worth the time that it took
Yes,
to do it.
yes.
You know, at least I thought so anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Kevin, were you able to reach Barbara?
I sent her an email and let me just call her again. Hold on.
Okay. Oops. No, that was my phone. Hold on.
Barbara requested for the link because she couldn't get in. So
She couldn't get in.
yes, I gave her the link.
All she needed to do is tap on the link. Maybe she's in a different platform or something.
Kevin, make sure you send her the password code too, because this time it asked for the password when I attempted to get in and normally it doesn't do that.
Okay.
Yes.
If she doesn't get on soon, can we start?
Yeah, I think Kevin already sent the passcode and the password last couple of days ago to everybody.
I understand, but
Yeah, I sent her the password and the link.
yeah, we only have a handful of people, so I suggest we get started shortly because otherwise we're going to be cutting off again.
Okay, let's start it then. Do we have a quorum?
No,
So this is not official.
we don't have anywhere near a quorum.
Okay, we can start the meeting unofficial since we do not have a quorum. Let's talk about what's on the agenda.
Okay. Hold on. I'm just gonna give the link again to Barbara. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Jonathan, are you able to give the link to Barbara?
Not me. I didn't do anything. I thought you already sent a link, the passcode and the
I'll send,
Yeah, it seemed like somebody just tried to get into Microsoft Teams for this meeting, but didn't join the Zoom link.
If they need to join in Zoom, not Microsoft Team. Because those information will not work with Microsoft Team. Zoom is a different platform from Microsoft Team, so it will not work.
Kevin, if she's not having any luck, I suggest we either start or we discontinue.
I tend to agree. What, for the members who are on, do you guys want to start or do you want to disconnect or do you want to wait for Barbara?
Here's Barbara.
Let me in.
Barbara, you're in.
This is so exciting.
Okay, Barbara's here.
Guys, I am Oh, so
Barbara?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Barbara.
I have no sound.
We can hear you, Barbara. Are you there, Barbara?
Is there any sound on this?
We can hear you.
Barbara, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, I
Okay, unmute yourself so that you can hear, so that, can you hear me, Barbara?
barely.
Yes.
It
Increase
says I
those-
am not muted.
Okay.
Oh,
Barbara, you on your iPhone for Zoom? Are you taking this from your phone, your iPhone?
yes.
Hit the, do you have the speaker button on there that you can hit so that it can be projected?
Okay, I do what now?
The speaker button, your speaker button. There should be like something to make it louder for you.
I have it as loud as possible,
Okay, then that may be it then.
but it doesn't seem to give a broadcasting one.
Okay.
We can see you.
Look, can you hear us okay now?
Yeah, as long as I have you up to my ear, I can.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
all right.
Oh,
Kevin,
I'm sorry. My computer died and then my laptop died. And so they've been at the shop, but I just got the laptop back that I could do everything on this, and it won't let me in. And so I'm trying on my phone. Oh, I hate, give me an abacus any day.
Shall
Sorry.
we start, Barbara?
Please, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I basically can't do anything because I can't see the screen because I have to have the phone up to my ear that I can hear.
Okay. So Barbara requested RRD to provide an update about our curbside bulky waste collection and for the household waste collection as well. So Marlene and Tim, could you provide some updates about the collection program?
Marilyn, you want me to?
I guess if you could provide some more context as to what the specific question is. And the reason I'm asking for more context is because there are no additional changes to the clear the curb where the haulers are picking up two bulky items on the regularly scheduled trash day. Nor are there any proposed changes for the future.
Okay, because we had one of those community dumpster days where our civic association gets the county to bring out dumpsters that you then have people bring bulky waste that for reasons I don't understand, they don't put out on the curb. At any rate, the nice gentleman who from the county who hauls the dumpsters who we've had for years, he gave us some real interesting information. He said, and I don't know if he's right, maybe he's inventing the whole thing, but he said the county is having so much trouble with Bates picking up the bulky waste weekly, and it's only Bates that they're having the trouble with, not with other haulers, that they're seriously considering abandoning the weekly curbside bulky waste pickup for next year.
No, I would say that is complete misinformation. And I'm sorry, who shared that? Who said that statement?
It is the gentleman from the county, and I do not know his name, who hauls the dumpster up.
For a community cleanup event?
Yeah.
Yeah, no idea what he's talking about.
Okay. So the program is continuing.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because that was a sort of shocking thing to hear.
Yeah, Tim, do you want to add anything to that or?
No,
No.
I don't have anything further to add to that whatsoever. However, I would like to know, what date was that, community cleanup event that took place and for which community?
This past Saturday at West Laurel Civic Association at the T. Howard Duckett Community Center in West Laurel.
Thank you very much. It would be addressed with who was over there in regards to that delivery. And as
Yeah,
Marilyn,
so-
as Marilyn just, I didn't mean to cut you off, Barbara. As Marilyn just stated, that is complete misinformation. The curbside bulky waste collection program will continue, for next year as well too. And but the division will address that misinformation with whoever was over there.
Okay, and I don't want to get him in trouble. I did not talk to him directly. He talked to the vice president of our civic association, who has done this community cleanup for now 10 years, arranged it, and knows this gentleman very well because he's brought the dumpsters up for most of those 10 years. And she's pretty good at listening. She's an academic. She's smart. So she told me, she was just blown away by that and immediately told me.
Barbara, can I ask
So
any of the county officials that are on the line, have any of you heard of any complaints within the department about the bulk pickup?
No, from the residential standpoint, I would say that the residents are extremely happy with the change, because basically we have cut a 6 to 8 week wait time for an appointment to pick up, all the way down to, basically on your trash day. So if you have
Thank-
more than 2 items, then, obviously you put 2 out your day of collection, and then the following week you put your, if you have 2 more items out the next week and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
You're
okay.
welcome.
Okay, well, that's great news. So sorry for panicking, but she told me that he so definitively said that I kind of thought it was true. Okay, and the other thing he said, which would also be incredibly important for communities that do this community trash cleanups, that we've always, of the 3 dumpsters, use 1 for electronics and 2 for just regular trash. And we had tried to see if we could get a hazardous waste dumpster and been told absolutely no, that doesn't work. And we tried through a councilman, he said that wasn't possible.
That's correct.
And this gentleman who dumps the trash, who picks up and delivers and picks up the dumpsters, says it doesn't matter if it's hazardous waste, if it's electronics, when he dumps it down in Upper Marlboro, it all gets dumped into the same pile.
Yeah,
So
no, that's,
we can,
yeah.
so we can put the hazardous waste in with the
No.
electronics.
No,
No.
that's completely incorrect. And so Tim Richards is, I should have introduced him at the beginning in case someone doesn't know him, but Tim is our Deputy Associate Director. And so I asked him, he's attending tonight because I have to leave shortly, but he will, address it and make sure that our crew, or who, the specific person was, that they have the correct information. But primarily, these guys, what information, they of course know the date, the time, the location, where to drop the box. And then it might be the same person picking up the box, but it could be a totally different person picking it up.
We always have the same person. We've had
Yeah.
the same person for,
Right, okay,
10 years.
right. So, if you've had the same person for 10 years, that person should definitely know the correct information. So we'll make sure he knows the correct information and doesn't give out any incorrect information in the future.
Okay, and it's possible that some information got screwed in playing telephone, but I really doubt it because Cassandra was just blown away by both of those facts.
Yeah. So hazardous waste is treated completely different.
That's
We
what
have
I
to have we have a licensed contractor. As you can imagine, hazardous waste is very heavily regulated,
Sure.
and it is not landfilled. And what we are doing this year is, in addition to our permanent site that's open Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, we are doing 4 community household hazardous waste events. We've already held one. Another one's upcoming. I forgot the date, but it's been a few
Yeah,
weeks from
I mean,
now.
but like the one in Beltsville, when I went down to that, it was a 2-hour wait and, a 1.5 mile long line.
Really?
So, yeah. I mean, it was just,
How long did you wait? I'm sorry.
I mean, I waited about half an hour and it was hardly moving. And then I went up to the front of the line and I asked somebody near the front of the line and they said they'd been there 2.5 hours.
What time was that?
I don't remember
Because
exactly.
I believe they don't open like until, I think we start at 8.
Yeah, no, this
So
was
if they got there
probably
before
about
8.
11, probably about 11:30.
Yeah, I'll check with Desmond Gladden.
Yeah, it was
Because we've never
enormous
had-
lines down in Beltsville.
Yeah, because we've never, and I've worked many of those events in the past when we used to have them, but that's the first, very first time I've ever heard of a wait like that. So I'll speak with Desmond about that. In fact, the one in Beltsville compared, no, that was scrap tires, never mind, because we held 2 scrap tire events too. The one in the Beltsville area I mean, we had a decent turnout, but the one in Clinton, we had a much more robust participation. But that's
You're
scrap
talking scrap tire.
Yeah, that was scrap tire.
Okay,
So
no, sorry, I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't clear. I was talking hazardous waste.
right. So I'll ask Desmond about
Yeah.
that, because nobody reported that there was.
Oh, it
after
was
wait.
enormous lines, yeah.
Okay.
And so everybody I know who went down just turned around and went and came back. They said it wasn't worth it. Is there
Okay.
any chance of having another one up here? And is there any chance of doing such a hazardous waste along with a dumpster day?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or
Twofold.
just doing another one up in the northern part of the county, because it's so far down to drive to Upper Marlboro from the northern end of the county.
So the 4 that the county's gonna host this year, they do get moved around the county. So for instance, the next one I believe is South County, and then there'll be a Central County one, but they are moved around. I can't guarantee one will be back up near the north, but it could be close enough. And that the next 2 that we're going to be planning will be in the spring. Locations to be determined, but again, we do know that they get moved around, so that we're trying to get, as large of the area of the county as possible.
Yeah, because you had an awful lot of people who wanted to come to the northern end and the lines were just too long and they turned around and went back.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on that.
Great. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about having trouble getting on and then this confusion with getting evidently incorrect information. Okay, so now on to the rest of the meeting, I guess, right? Did you guys have anything else that we want to do in the SWAC meeting today, other than go over this, what people's feelings were about the plan part of the 10-year solid waste plan?
I did. I wanted to know if we're going to delegate who's going to be on the individual smaller committees, like outreach committee or kind of advocacy committee.
Can I suggest that we deal with the 10-year solid waste plan and get that, because we've deferred it and deferred it and deferred it, and the time is growing short. And the meeting's already running late.
I thought the assignment was supposed to read chapter 5.
Right, exactly. And so
So-
that's what I'm saying. Do we,
Okay.
that's what I was asking, if we wanted to discuss that. what, is that okay, guys?
Sure, we
That's
can do
okay.
both. I just didn't want
Yeah.
to get that part.
Yeah, no, we do have to, you're right. That was Nyla who said that?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry, I can't see the phone either. This connection's just horrible. At any rate, yeah, we have to do that. You know, we haven't figured out what committees we want yet. So we have to, maybe people should, in an email chat, say what they think would be good committees to have and what they might like to be on. So we could do some of that on an email chat and then have that on the agenda for next month. And then let's talk about this 10-year solid waste plan, especially chapter 5. Okay, so people's feelings on how that, A, how that was written back then, and B, how that would apply to now and what needs to be changed for the upcoming one, which is obviously a ton. Comments, please.
Barbara, this is my personal expression and it's based on my community input. And I know the county is not going to buy into it, but I will express it on behalf of the community
I'm
again.
sorry for interrupting. This is Chuck.
Yes, it is.
Okay, sorry, I'm having to identify by voice. Okay.
As you know, our community has been long opposed to extending the life of Brown Station Road, and I know that is in the current plan. And I know it would extend the life of Brown Station Road out to 2050 or 52. But having lived with this since a long time, I guess the 70s, and having been promised for many years, it's going to be closed, it's going to be closed, it's going to be closed. And we actually did some studies and found alternatives that would work. On behalf of my community, I am going to express again that I would hope that the county will continue to look at that. I know the 10-year plan is updated regularly, but hopefully before 2052, because I'll be dead, Brown Station Road will be closed.
I think they're just starting the area C.
Recognizing the plan right now says it's going to be open. I hope that the county will look at additional mitigating measures that may be taken with respect to how the traffic is routed and how the trucks get there. White House Road is not a road that should be used for heavy vehicles, and it is used regularly by the operators. If we could have them take the Beltway and get off the Beltway at Central Avenue and come down 202 and then take the entrance at White House Road at the lower end of White House Road to take the landfill, that would be better than the way they do it now, because what they're doing, they're either taking Sansbury Road or they're jumping off at the Beltway and they're coming down Ritchie Road and coming down White House Road, and they're going through a residential area with the street is very narrow. When there's vehicles parked there, there's only 2 lanes, one in each direction. And right now, to make the matter even worse, WSSC has the entire White House Road project torn up for putting in new water lines. So it is a hazard for those vehicles. On the short term, if they could get the vehicles off the road now, it would be beneficial. But a long term, we would definitely like to see, as a mitigation, if Brown Station Road is continued, to reroute the truck traffic into Brown Station.
Marilyn, Kevin, Tim, any comments?
Well, this is Jonathan Madagu. This solid waste management plan, I believe it has been adopted. It's good until 2029. Not until after 2029, our recommendation, I don't think the county will buy our recommendation because of the fact that it's based on the annotated code of Maryland and the regulation under 26.0303, and it was entitled Development of County Comprehensive Solid Waste Management Plan. So this has been adopted by the County Council. We're making a recommendation to change something that has been adopted by the County Council. I don't think this is something the County Council will buy. I can understand if we're making a recommendation to follow after 2029, that would be a different scenario.
If I could add one more thing, I will note that The plan is based on expanding Brown Station Road and getting approval from the state to open another cell. They don't have that approval. A condition could be added to the approval at the state level requiring the truck traffic be rerouted.
Also, I'd like to add that the water project is really not the BSSC project, but it's a solid waste, it's county project, Prince George's County project. The present water line is a replacement of the existing water line to increase the size to serve Brown Station Road. So really, this is Prince George's County project, not the BSSC project.
The project on White House Road is WSSC. I can give you the WSC
No, no, no,
project
no, no.
number, and it covers more than White House Road. It covers the site.
I'm not talking about the one I'm not talking about the one on White House Road. I'm talking
That's the
about
one
this
I'm talking about where
project.
the truck traffic is. The
Okay,
truck
that's
traffic is on White House Road.
a different project. The one on White House Road, WSSC.
That's
I'm talking
exactly what
about-
I said.
Yeah, I'm talking about the projects inside the facility of Brown Station Road waste.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he was
Yeah.
talking about, Jonathan.
Okay, so there is gonna be a lot of development going on, and even though that is not part of the 10-year plan, I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
They're gonna-
let's spend a little while focusing on something other than the roadway and wanting to get Area C closed down, because I kind of feel that that's probably a lost cause. And there's so many other things that we need to address in this 10-year plan that we maybe can really address. I think we should do that.
Let me mention another item that's in there, Barbara, if I may. We're talking about hazardous waste, and currently the plan calls for only accepting hazardous waste 3 days a week. I think it would be beneficial if the county could figure out a way to have hazardous waste more convenient, either 5 days a week or more convenient places to drop hazardous waste off. Unfortunately, I think that has something to do with the illegal dumping that we see in this county, because a lot of times it's not convenient to get rid of that stuff. So people will just dump it along the side of the road or dump it illegally someplace, especially.
Yeah, I was
if
seeing
you
that when
3
I
days
was
a week.
leaving.
So that's another thing I'd like to see us look at.
Yeah, when I was leaving that the North County pickup of the hazardous waste and people had waited 2 hours and left in disgust, you saw some of them going to the side of the road and just dumping it.
Also, the plan, as I read it, and I didn't see anything specific, although there appears to be some consideration of budget for recycling facilities, but it didn't specifically mention expanding the existing recycle plant that's on Ritchie Road. And I know the county's intention is to try to increase the amount of recycling taking place. And I don't know how close that facility is to capacity or if it's at capacity, but it would
The
appear to
tours
me.
I have done on it, I've done 2 tours recently and they haven't talked anything about expanding it. You're talking about the MRF.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, there was
And
no discussion of it.
if
They're talking
our
about
intention is
expanding
to
the
try
number
to
of
get
optical
more
sorters.
recycling done, then it would appear to me that either they're going to have another facility or they're going to have to expand that facility. And I didn't see that addressed any place.
I don't believe so. I think they're increasing the number of optical sorters and increasing the efficiency
But
of that.
that's not going to deal with capacity. That's going to deal with how you sort what's in there. They're gonna have
They
to-
haven't said anything that they're near to
I
capacity.
understand, and that's we're talking about 10 years, and if we increase our collection of recyclables, how are they going to
Okay,
deal
so
with
that
it?
is something to ask Kevin and Marilyn to find out about. If it's thought that the MRF is of sufficient size for 10 years.
Yeah, so we update the plan every 3 years, and so our plan is due for updating next year. And every time we do that, we get the updated numbers like population and waste projection. So we'll take that into consideration when revising the plan to consider whether there's a requirement to expand the facility such as the MRF. But I think as of now, our MRF is capable of processing the intake of recyclable materials from both residential and commercial facilities.
Can you state that affirmatively, or are you just?
The only thing I would like to say in regards to this here, and thank you, Kevin, is that obviously in regards to that questioning, I would ask that the SWAC go ahead and put that in the email, and obviously the county will follow back up appropriately.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking on, because
Thank
they
you.
certainly give you no indication of that when you take the tour at the MRF.
Yeah.
But yes,
Mhm.
so certainly put that into the email.
Okay.
Chuck, everybody, other people, comments on the 10-year plan? I also have a million comments, but I want to hear everybody else's
did.
first.
I have some comments. Um, not even pushing aside, me being an avid environmentalist, but also conscious of in chapter 5, page 136, it's concerning all the different critical bay areas. So underneath map 4-5.
So this
one
is
of
chapter
them-
4.
It's chapter 4. Well, it's important, which I don't want to get sidetracked, even though it's not specific to chapter 5. Piscataway Creek. I was just at the American Indian Festival 3 days ago on the 15th of October. And technically, sadly, the Piscataway Nation is not federally recognized. And so I want us to be mindful of any construction, any putting forth of any type of new plans, whether it be ones related to waste management, construction, demolition, etc., for it to not embark on the Piscataway Creek lands. There are also other vital wetlands. Jug Bay is a particular one. That's a part of the Sierra Club. Miss Barbara knows we've been advocating for that. And Mattawoman Creek. And Jug Bay isn't a part of the 100-year floodplain process, but it is critical because 100-year floodplains do flood.
100-year floodplains
Yeah,
flood
but
every 10 years now.
Yes, I know, and that's part of the problem. There's I just did
Why don't we focus on the chapter 5, on the plans, though?
And I wasn't for it, so I stood up against that. But I just want us to take that into consideration very much, because the indigenous people who are on the Maryland lands, we're on their sacred grounds, rent free, and they still can't be federally recognized. And so I want us to acknowledge that and remember.
That certainly is a
it,
very
not-
important, larger issue that we can get back to at some point. Let's focus on chapter 5 and the plans, which is what we were trying to do for this month, because the county is writing this new 10-year plan and would like to get our input into it. Who else has comments on chapter 5, the plan?
I have a comment. There's no reference or provision.
I'm sorry, I can't
Oh.
see. Who is this?
Bill Walmsley.
Oh, Bill, hi, sorry.
Hi. There's no mention or reference to doing anything with reuse of collected materials from bulky
Yep.
trash.
Absolutely.
And, I know at one point, a previous 10-year solid waste plan had made mention and reference to the possibility of the county developing a facility that would be used to both collect and potentially distribute some of those materials. Certainly that may not be the way to go nowadays with bringing in third parties to it, but something has to be done because so much stuff is getting tossed. I mean, even clear the curb, it's clearing the curb, but it's putting it in the landfill as opposed to putting it in some other more desirable thing like a reuse facility or the like.
Remember when Andrea was here last month, Andrea Crooms, she was talking about the possibility of in the future coupling something of the pickup of the bulky wastes with some county run repurpose facility or something to help replace the community, Nancy Meyer's community forklift, if that has to go the way of the dodo bird. So she was talking about that. So that certainly should be in this future plan. You're absolutely right.
We'll take note of that, Bill.
Okay. Like I say, it was in there at one point in time. It wasn't in a chapter 5. It was one in one of the earlier 10-year solid waste plans and in one of the earlier chapters. I could go back and look at what it was, when, where, but at this point, I hadn't done that yet. I just noted that it wasn't in chapter 5 this time around.
Okay, and let me then make my comments also. I had a bunch of comments in going through it. On the first page of chapter 5, I mean, because obviously it has to be rewritten. It's a very obsolete thing relative to the current time. And it really doesn't say much about plans. It just says what the
Cut me out. I
existing.
don't know what happened with Zoom. But I'm back. So I hope I made my point made.
Okay, so it really just says what the existing pickups are. So for instance, on the first page of chapter 5, it says bulky waste is picked up by appointment. But obviously now bulky waste is picked up at the curb weekly for, at least for people in the county who have the trash and recycling provided by the county. So that would need to be changed.
White
Yeah.
goods and that are still appointment.
I'm sorry?
White goods
yes.
is still appointment.
White goods and trash and hazardous and all of those things are. Gotcha.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
do not.
But
we do
no,
not-
they were specifically saying of bulky.
This specifically list that household hazardous waste is not picked up curbside. We do not pick that up curbside. It's just strictly white goods, tires, and for those who do not have trash and recycling county based, we still make appointments for those residents. But household hazardous waste is not picked up curbside nor by appointment.
Right, but in the plan that we were supposed to look at and say what isn't right for now, it says that the bulky is by appointment, and the bulky for a lot of the county is weekly pickup. So that would need to be corrected.
Correct. Thank you. And that will be adjusted. Thank you for bringing that to the county.
As Bill said, it doesn't say anything about what Andrea Crooms told us last month, that the county was intending on doing a reuse center. And so that would certainly be very good in a 10-year plan. If you're planning on doing it, it should certainly be in that they're planning to do the 10-year center. It's on the second page of it, it talks at the MRF, it talks about the optical sorter as being something in the future. But of course, we all know that that's already installed last year and well going, and that they're looking to get more optical sorters.
Yeah,
But
we
again,
will
that would need to be corrected.
Yeah, we will revise that narrative, Barbara, to reflect the current situation.
Okay. Then also on that same page, where it says that currently, that is at that time, 89 office buildings have recycling pickup. It doesn't say, is that 89 out of 100 in the county or 89 out of 1,000 in the county? You don't have any feeling what 89 means. And they don't give you any feeling if those are all county office buildings or if they're private office buildings or if there is a mix. So it's very uninformative how it's written. So if the new one can be written in a more informative manner. Because
Yes,
it's obviously
Barbara.
very different if it's a county office building that they're picking up at or a private one. And they don't specify.
So Barbara, that 89 office buildings, it's a mix of private and government buildings. And same, we will update the numbers.
Great, yeah. And if you can
for the-
say out of how many, that if you know if that is 5% of the buildings or 95% of the office buildings in the county. You don't have a feeling when you just get 89 buildings. I assume it's a small fraction, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the composting, my understanding is that very soon the county is wanting to take it county-wide, or it's heading that way already, and they don't, and obviously this plan would have to be upgraded or updated, because it certainly doesn't say anything like that in that plan.
Yes, we will.
And again, on the 6th page of the chapter 5, it again about bulky trash, it talks about people delivering it to the facility, but it talks nothing about it being picked up weekly curbside. So those would all have to be upgraded. And then the final page is where it talks about the county engagement. I guess we have several times in various ways stressed that we would love to see better county engagement of the citizens. And I guess I would love that the county can really think about how to better do that, or would listen to us or take our advice or ask from us or ask for other civic leaders how to get better county engagement in it, in the whole processes. Because so many people just, they say they get conflicting information, it doesn't happen like it's announced, and they get turned off by it. And I think better messaging could really help an awful lot. And I guess I'd love to see that the plan is working towards improving the messaging and not present it as if they think the messaging is terrific.
So Barbara, you saw the engagement matrix, right, in chapter 5.
Right.
We will definitely get your input on that matrix to increase the engagement part of the county with the residents, stakeholders. So we will revise that with your input.
Great, yeah. Because I think the mailings that they do, like the mailings that they sent out before the composting was rolled out and before the bulky curbside was rolled out, it was wonderful they sent out the mailings. But as you know, I have often harped, and don't want to sound like a broken record, that I thought those mailings really missed the boat. They didn't say anything of why, they never said a word of why you want to do composting. That it's good for the environment, that it saves methane, that it, all sorts of positive things. They never said anything of that. It was just mechanics. And I would think, and with the bulky, it was never a word of thinking about repurposing. So I would think mailings that have way more of an environmental focus, and not to neglect the procedural focus, but to add an environmental focus that people care about it, that they feel like they're doing something good by doing it. I think would help people to engage. Jonathan, Chuck, Bill, do you guys agree?
So just to, Barbara, just to reiterate, our plan is due for updating next year. We are to submit the draft 2024-2033 10-year plan to MD on June 1, and the final document would have to be approved by MD by January 15. So in between these dates, there will be consultations with the residents because the document has to be approved by the county council and the county executive office. So you will have the opportunity to provide your comments when the county council calls for comments on the 10-year plan. So we will start updating the plan next year based on this date.
But wait a minute, when the testimony comes before the county council, that will be on the newly revised plan already.
Yes, yes.
And what we were hoping is to get our comments in that how MDE is going to revise the plan, our comments would be reflected in that already.
Yeah, we will also consider your comments before we submit it to MDE. That's why I'm taking notes of your comments.
Not even before you submit it to MDE, but before it gets really written in a final form to be sent out for people's comments. That we would love if our comments be taken in at the planning stages of the writing of the 10-year plan.
Because there will be a drafting stage for this document.
Right, and if our comments would be taken in at the drafting stage and not just at the stage where Joe Q. Public makes his comments on the already written plan.
Right.
Because I think it's important that this plan be forward-looking and not just sound like a rehash of we're already doing these things and we are just going to say in the future we're going to continue doing them. It's the forward-looking of getting the reuse center, of figuring out how to extract reusable materials from the bulky wastes, of maybe having more convenient hazardous waste pickups, of these sorts of forward-looking things.
Yeah, that's correct. But then the revisions would also have to depend on the budget of the county. So we will have to look at the budget of the division and we will reflect changes in the document based on the budgeted items.
Is it more expensive to the county to have added the weekly bulky waste? Or was it more expensive to do a lot more trips up on each individual sofa gets scheduled separately type pickup of bulky?
Tim?
Bulky collections and the methodology is being done currently right now for those individuals who have trash and recycling services was done in a way to obviously go ahead and cut back on a 6 to 8 week window. So it was in the best interest of what we needed to do for the citizens of Prince George's County to cut back on those wait times in regards to cutting back on wait times for collections. So with doing so, obviously, the county is able to go ahead and provide a much better service and a much better time frame of individuals being able to get rid of their bulk trash from their households.
Right, no, that wasn't the question I asked. The question I asked, you have this new plan, which is user-friendly. Is it costing the county more or costing the county less than how the county previously did the pickups?
And in regards to your questioning, please place it in the email and the county will follow back up.
Okay. Because, I mean, things like that are important to know with, you know, as you had said, as you guys had said, doing programs, it depends on if you can finance them or not. But if on something like this, if you actually are saving money by not doing these individual bulky runs, but by doing it methodically each week, it's good to know that, or the same way that that we were told at the compost facility that for every ton of materials that gets taken to the compost facility, it actually saves the county money because it's not going to the landfill. As well as saving methane. So these sorts of things where one saves money and it's either socially or environmentally good outcome is clearly a win-win. Bill, we have heard very little from you. Other comments? Bill Wamsley, any other
Yeah.
comments? We've heard little from you.
No, my main concern was the reuse thing. That's what I have to
Yes.
contribute.
I 100% agree with you because I think that would be, and that is something, you know, if we are making subcommittees to try to get more done, that we don't have to squish everything into 1 hour per month, a reuse committee seems like that would be a good one to add to the list. Would you be interested in that, Bill? In being on that? If we have a reuse committee?
I'd consider it, yes.
Good. Jonathan, other comments? Jonathan, do you have other comments?
Mr. Jonathan, if you're trying to speak, you're on mute, sir.
You're still muted, Jonathan.
I know, okay.
There,
It's
great.
kind of froze on me. I said I would like to be in the reuse committee myself.
Great. Excellent. So would I.
Okay, so the three of
And I
us.
would bet that Nancy Meyer would too. Any other comments, Jonathan?
That's it for me. No more comment for me.
Chuck, other comments?
I'm good. One other comment that, and I didn't see it in the plan, and it might be there and I might have missed it. The bleed off of the methane gas that's currently going on. I don't know if there's any long-term plans to deal with more with the methane gas that's coming off of that. And I know at one point it was being used down to the jail. I don't know if it still is, but I think the methane ought to be discussed to a greater extent.
That's discussed in earlier chapters.
It's not in chapter 5, and that's probably why I missed it.
No, it's in earlier chapters.
Okay, I looked primarily at chapter 5, but that would also be a concern. But thank you.
Yeah, I didn't read all of the other chapters. I just sort of looked at them and there was a bunch of the methane there. And I know that they've told us on the tours that I guess right now the lines are screwed up and it's not being used for the jail and they're going to
Right.
take it back to that and their plans of
I would
expanding
hope
it
that in the
further
future
still.
that's somehow incorporated into the plan, even though that's not in section 5. that, you know, we come up with a solution to put it to use rather than just to burn it off.
But that's actually a very good idea, Chuck, that, Kevin, that we should submit that also, that the chapter 5, the plans, should talk about, should give a reference to where else in the plan the methane is talked about. Because
Okay.
that is yet another thing that you would, as Chuck says, you might have imagined it would be in chapter 5. So if it's only elsewhere,
Yeah.
to have a
Barbara,
reference to it.
could we just have another committee to talk about methane gas?
Okay, that's a good idea too.
Yeah. So we have a committee that we talk about the repurposing, reuse, then another committee for the methane gas. So that's just a suggestion.
Excellent. Okay, so while we still have a couple of minutes and maybe a little bit of space for Jonathan, Bill, and Chuck, ideas, let's just throw around ideas for other committees then.
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
If we're talking now about what committees we might like to make for the SWAC.
Okay.
We just talked about having methane one and a reuse one.
I think those two committees will be enough. We don't have a whole lot of people. See how many of us are present today? Last month, how many of us were present? So we really do not have a whole lot of people to be in several committees. These two committees, maybe at most 3 committees, you know?
Yeah. Kevin, do you follow up with the people who do not come to these meetings?
Yes. Yes.
And so they always say, gosh, we feel really bad and we want to come to the next one? Or they say up yours
Yeah.
to SWAC, or what is the response?
Well, yes. So, for example, Nancy, for every month, if she cannot attend the meeting, she sends an email, and then saying that she will try to attend the following month. So yeah, I get email from some members when they're absent. And then I try to update them about what the outcome of the meetings, the previous meetings.
Barbara, are you still on?
Yes.
I think I've expressed this in the past and I'll express it again for your information. One of the issues we had with the previous solid waste commissions, boards, whatever you want to call them, was the lack of attendance by the members and having consistency of the participation by the members, and it made it very difficult to get much accomplished. And I think you're beginning to see exactly the same thing. Finding people that are really dedicated to this process is not easy, and I don't know what the solution is, because we've tried a number of avenues to go out and recruit people that are really interested, and it doesn't take long that they stop attending the meetings or don't show up and don't participate. So this is not a new phenomenon. This has been going on ever since the solid waste was created in its various versions. And I sympathize with you because I know what you're going through. Been there, done that.
Well, I very much appreciate you guys coming. And, you know, Nancy Meyer, because she's certainly going through really hard times right now. So she gets a get out of jail free card in my book.
One thing I will suggest, Barbara, and don't take this as a criticism, please, but I think we need to keep our agenda moving. We need to be precise, and we need to deal with meetings and get them completed within the time frame, because I think all too frequently is our meetings have, we have an agenda and we get stuck on one issue and don't move beyond it, and then we're cramming to try to finish where it runs way over. So that would be one thing I would suggest to you, to try to keep the meetings very orderly, very precise, stick to the points in the agenda and move as quickly as we can to get through them timely.
Yeah, and I super appreciate that. I super apologize for this time. As I say, I've 3 times been from our house up to Baltimore to Hopkins in the last week to try to get my computers repaired for this. Went rushing up to get one back today, and it turns out it doesn't work. So I apologize that I'm having to do this on the phone and wasted all this time. And big apologies. When it's just so dependent on technology, when it craps out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go.
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good month. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
everybody.
we'll try to get a little more organized. And thank you so much, Chuck and Bill and Kevin and Tim.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you
Good
as
night.
well.
Thank you.
You have a great evening. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.